Hello, everybody. My name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ film festival. We're having our Spring Festival next week, and we have an amazing lineup. And one of the great documentaries that we are showing is An Unexpected Community. And I'm going to read a brief description of the film, and then we're going to have a discussion with the director and producer slash subject who actually be here for the screening next week. So I'm looking forward to having them here. In the early days of the pandemic, Andrea Meyerson, founder of Women on a Roll, launched an online platform for lesbians and queer women. She called it Women on the Net. 5 nights a week, Meyerson provided a place for women all over the world to gather and share a wide range of entertaining programming. Feelings of isolation and loneliness were replaced with joy, laughter, and new friends, all via Zoom. An unexpected community captures the magic these women shared during one of the most challenging events in our lifetime. The film features Lily Tomlin, Kate Clinton, Meredith Baxter, Vickie Shaw, Suzanne Westenhoefer, and more. The film screens Wednesday, March 19th at 6:30 p.m. at the Landmark Midtown Arts Center. And we will have the director, Kathryn Beranich, and the producer and subject, Andrea Meyerson, at this screening. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm so happy to be able to screen this film.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Well, I want to ask both of you. Um, everybody obviously remembers the pandemic and how unexpected it was, but just both of you, just talk to me a little bit about how the pandemic affected you and just, how the pandemic affected you both professionally and personally.
It, who you want to start, Catherine?
You go first.
Okay, thank you. As you mentioned, I'm the founder of Women on a Roll, and
Yeah.
Women on a Roll offers a lot of, for a long time, a lot of local events as well as worldwide travel. And we had just returned from a Women on a Roll trip from Thailand, last day of February 2020, and everything started shutting down right after that, and including I had a Brandy Carlisle concert, like almost sold out in May, and tracking a sellout, and I had a trip to Italy,
Mhm.
and I had my 25th anniversary gala for Women on a Row. It was our 25th anniversary, so things just started closing down one after the other, and I found myself like, oh shit, what the hell? And I was, got down, and then I had heard of this thing called Zoom. And so anyway, I was kind of down about that, but I had heard of this thing called Zoom, and I'm like, what if I could do gatherings on Zoom? So I
Yep.
called my tech person. I said, start a Zoom account for me, and I went on the webinar, and hence Woman on the Net was born out of the out of everything I was doing in person shutting down. And I was like, what is the community going to do? What am I going to do? So that was my pandemic.
Catherine?
Well, meanwhile, I was sitting in my little apartment with my two kids, uh, who go back and forth between me and my ex, their
Yeah.
other mother. And my phone rang one day, and it was Andrea, who I did not know. I knew of her. And she said, hey, I saw your film, The Unlikely Story of the Lesbians of First Friday, and I'd like to program it on Women on the Net.
Oh,
I
nice.
said, fabulous. Yeah. What's that? Because I hadn't heard of it. And so she told me, and so we scheduled it. I went over to her place and we did an in-person Q&A after the film screened.
Social
And
distancing, of course.
yes, of course, 6 feet away. And yeah, and then we had dinner and talked and became best friends.
Well,
That
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
As you begin Women on the Net, did you find that? I don't know. I can only speak for myself. I had no idea what Zoom was before the pandemic. I'd never used Zoom. It's like, what is Zoom? But I now Zoom is now a daily part of my life. But can you talk about those early days when people weren't familiar with what Zoom was and how it all worked, and getting women to trust the process and sort of show up for this?
Yeah, like you, Jim, I am far removed from the corporate world, so I didn't know Zoom. I had heard of it, and
Yeah.
I thought, I wonder if I could do gatherings on Zoom. It's not like thought of. I don't know what the word gathering came up, And so I didn't know. And yeah, we launched it very quickly,
Mhm.
like week one, when we were all like, sequestered to like stay in place, right? Shelter in place. And we launched it like immediately. And I just sent out an email. I have approximately 10,000 women on my subscriber list. And I
Yeah.
sent out a thing saying a new virtual space for lesbians forming. And we had our launch party, which, by the way, this Friday is exactly the 5-year anniversary of Women on the Net. Um, so anyway, we launched and they came, but yeah, there was a lot of training involved. Most people didn't know what it was. People were texting and emailing, how do I get on? Like, I want to come. But we had a huge turnout right off the bat. So I really didn't know about Zoom. I just knew there was a thing, and I had my tech people start an account for me, and I went on a webinar and I learned how to use it. And then I engaged the savvy uh, tech the tech savvy with Kim Crabtree, who emailed me saying what a great idea. Let me know if you need any help, because she wasn't working either because of the pandemic. And I said, yeah, we're going to do a run through. Come on. So I engaged her, and she became our back end princess, or princess of
Okay.
the back end. She did all the tech stuff, and so she came on with me in the beginning and stayed with me, and eventually I employed her. And so yeah, it was a learning process for me, and I would say 90% of the community. Um, and there's a little segment in the film that Kathryn captures where you see people trying to use it, and it's very funny. It's like there was a lot of that, but there was only so much time in the film, but she captured some of the really fun moments of that.
Kathryn,
Right.
you know,
I'd like to say that they were fun moments, but there were a lot of them. And it was appalling to me. I'm fairly tech savvy. And when I started watching Women on the Net, I couldn't believe how people didn't know what they were doing, basically. But it was cute. It was cute, but frustrating because a lot of time was spent talking them through how to get the camera turned on, how to get their audio right, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. And we still do a little tech talk before most shows. But it's quick now, and most people know it now. It's become a way of life. So
can both of you talk about the importance of this, not just during the pandemic, but after, as a way not just to bring people together, but maybe perhaps bring people who live in areas where they don't have a lot of social opportunities?
Mhm. Well, both Andrea and I are really focused on community.
Yeah.
And if you look at our past projects, we have focused on that. And I think that's one reason why we became such good friends and respected colleagues. Uh, exactly because there are communities all over. We're lucky being in LA. We're in this great bubble, and we can be out and all. But I lived in southwestern Virginia for a long time, and Alabama and Milwaukee. I mean, and you don't have the opportunity to gather in communities like like what Andrea's created, both with Women on a Roll and Women on the Net.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
yeah,
Andrea, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was gonna just, and she covered it pretty well. And yeah, I think we're both community spirited people, and our community is really important to us, and it is what we bonded. We both of us make documentaries that we make to share and preserve our culture and our rich history, and we don't want it to get lost, and that it truly bonded us.
Yeah. Andrea, can you talk about how uh, Women on the Net evolved from just, a way to literally talk to people to a way to have programming for people and have, films like Kathryn's film, special guests? Can you sort of talk about the evolution?
Sure. Well, I've been producing live shows for a very, very long time in Los Angeles, and I filmed a lot for when Logo TV was a really cool thing. I filmed a lot of their comedy specials, and I did them all in LA. And so, it was for me. a way to offer what I do, which was basically live productions, theater events, concerts, comedy shows, dance parties, theme parties, you know, fun stuff, films. And I was like, as time went on, like the first week we launched, it was just a cocktail party and get to know each other. And I played some interesting icebreaker games that were really fun and people could talk and we would spotlight them. And on that same week, I had Suzanne Westenhoefer and Karen Williams and Vickie Shaw. And then they were like, "Hi, I'm a comedian. I don't know what to do here," like looking in the camera. But as time went on, they were all that we got them to a place where you're going to perform. We're going to have people laugh so they're on mute so you could hear them laughing because it was really hard for them. So it just became, I wanted, as time went on, I had this vision of turning it into really a network, you know, it was just like because we were on 5 nights a week. And in the early days, before I had a professional count, we could only host 100 people at a time. And we were getting people from all over the country and really even all over the world. So we had to accommodate different time frames. So we would take the same show and do it 3 times in one night. And we did it 5 nights a week. And then I'm like, I'm getting a business account so we could have a lot more people and we could be on as long as we want. And that helped. But we were still on 5 nights a week, 5 nights a week. And some of those events went on 3, 4 weeks. I remember our first Valentine's Day, we did a movie marathon and we were on for 8 hours. And we gave people like, okay, 10-minute break, go get your popcorn, go to the bathroom, come back, and then we're showing this thing. So it just became for me like a network and a way to keep the community connected and really bring them some joy. And it was, you had mentioned earlier the fact that people that lived remotely, there were women that like they knew all the performers coming on, but even if they came to an area that was a city, it still might be they were rural, it still might be 2, 3 hours for them to get there. So they got to see all these comics and talk to them. They loved the talkbacks and that they wouldn't maybe even ever be able to see live. So it was very rewarding and it was tiring, but I was very committed to it. And even now, Kathryn and I did a Q&A in Provincetown and they're like, well, what's the future? And I go, well, you know, maybe I'll start to like wind it down. And they're all like, no. I'm like, I said to the audience, you're never going to let me stop doing this, are you? And they said, no. Right, Kathryn? Remember, that's like,
oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I can elaborate just a bit on the fact that Andrea did this 5 nights a week. I used to produce and direct live TV, and I did a noon talk show for years. And Andrea was doing this all by herself. And it's just amazing to me that no staff, you know, nobody, I mean, Kim was helping night of, but she wasn't helping book guests and curate the the whole thing. So I kudos to you because it was amazing to me.
And for Kim, I would be like, we're getting on 45 minutes early. I've got to go through the run of show with you. So I would for the big shows anyway, I'd have a run of show. Like this is going to happen, you know, at 0.5 hours, like whatever. It was a lot. Yeah, thank you.
Kathryn, can you talk about the decision to make this, to document this, to make this a film?
Mm-hmm. Well, I had this idea. I'm laughing because when I presented it to Andrea, she was like, yeah, I was thinking that too. Basically, I was pretty impressed with what she was doing and not just what I referred to with producing this whole thing on her own, but with, are we still going? I see a little icon just came up.
Yeah. I just needed to check my dog for a moment.
Oh, okay.
We just got a new puppy and I'm just very protected, but all's good.
Love me.
Mine is sleeping over there. Can you see?
Okay.
Got a couple cats on the couch.
Amber, say hi. Okay, sorry.
Don't get her riled. Anyway, I just thought this would be a great documentary because, again, it's just preserving a little slice of lesbian history.
Yeah.
And so I was driving over to her house and thinking about it. And then we had this conversation and it was like, yeah. And then we kept talking about it. And then one night we went out for sushi and we toasted to to doing this documentary, and now here we are a couple of years later, and we get to share it with people all over. It's awesome.
This is so exciting. Andrea, what's the frequency now in terms of how often you do this?
I have recently scaled down to twice a week.
Okay.
People, are going out. I don't think they need as much, but this family of women was cultivated in this space, and this is their opportunity to stay connected. And sometimes when I have a really big guest on, it's packed. It's not, we were getting hundreds of women at every show, and now it's not that, but I always feel the people that show up need it. And so we're down to like twice a week. A lot of like standing kind of events. We've incorporated a book club and a movie club, but I still bring on talent and still opportunities for Q&A.
Is this just national? Are you
We used to get so many people that were whispering because somebody was sleeping next to 3 in the morning. They called in from Italy and New Zealand and Spain and the UK. I was like, really? Like it was Australia. We had regulars from Australia. So that was in the height of the pandemic, global for sure. Now we have regulars from Canada and occasional people from other countries, but pretty much it's just national now, national and Canada.
That's good. So now that you have finished the film and getting it, well, what's it like to take this to festivals and share this story with audiences?
Well, I mean, for me, it's a little triggering because in the midst of making the film, I lost my wife. And my wife was a big part of me moving forward and launching it, and as like all my business decisions and all my moves. So it was very triggering, and it really delayed the completion of the film. Kathryn was very diligent in moving forward, but I couldn't give my notes, and it was hard. And even now, when I watch it, sometimes I'm triggered. Um, but I'm here, and Maureen, my wife, is smiling down because she was proud of it. She was proud of me. So, so watching it for me now, it's hard. And also, by the way, I'm a filmmaker, so being in front of the camera, I never was interviewed. It's all the stuff you see me being crazy on Zoom. So the film is cut. It's like 50% the Zoom events and 50% the interviews Kathryn did all over the country with some of our regulars and some of the performers. Um, so it's seeing so much of myself on film is I always whisper to Kathryn, can they stop talking about me now? Because it's hard, but she did such a great job in capturing the essence of what happened. But it is difficult for me, and I think Kathryn did a great job, and I'm very grateful for that.
Thank you. These women love Andrea. It's just amazing, and I didn't include even 25% of their gushing over her. So it might make you uncomfortable, Andrea, but these women love you, and they just had a lot of good things to say about you. And for me, taking it to festivals, I love people being able to see my work, because when I'm editing, I'm just alone for hours and days and weeks, and then boom, it's done, and you put it out there. And when you're doing real television, you never get to see the audience and get their responses. And so this is awesome for me because I get to enjoy them enjoying the films.
Oh, that's great. The film
And
is
we've only played a few festivals. We've played 3 festivals because it's a newly released film, and we won 2. We won Best Documentary at 2 of them, so that was cool.
Congratulations. That's great news. An Unexpected Community screens at Out on Film on Wednesday, March 19th at 6:30 at the Landmark Midtown Arts Cinema. I'm so happy that we'll have both the director and producer and director and subject here to talk about this great movie. Kathryn and Andrea, thank you so much for talking to me. Congratulations on the film, and we look forward to having you here in Atlanta next week.
Can't wait.
We're looking forward to it. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. And we're going to probably post this tonight.
Great. And when you post it, tag us and I'll make sure I forward it.
Absolutely. It was great talking to both of you.
Likewise. Thank
Have
you
a
so
great
much.
day. Thanks so much.
Bye.